Okay, this is the this section is probably going to be the last one, and that is basically looking at nonviolence in terms of pan-Africanism. And for anyone who doesn't know, pan-Africanism is basically the idea or the belief in a united African nation, meaning, you know, for us, the descendants of the diaspora, that we are still Africans, even though many of us were not born there, have never been there, but Africa is still our homeland, and that those people, those Africans who adhere to a pan-Africanist ideology, are basically supportive of African peoples and the struggles that they are going through. And what's happening right now, I don't know if anyone's aware of this, but Africa is turning out to be a very wealthy continent in terms of its mineral resources. And so you have a lot of people who are wanting to get in there and get at those minerals and those natural resources, and somehow not, you know, share them with or work with the indigenous people, you know, the African natives, the African tribes that are there. And so there's a lot of divide and conquer, there's a lot of civil wars, and you have instances, you know, you have situations like with what happened in Rwanda, and so there are, for Africans who are living outside of Africa, there are a lot of Pan-Africanists who are committed to being part of that armed struggle, and I've had encounters with and, you know, overheard, you know, a lot of Pan-Africanists, you know, say things like any African person who's not, you know, willing to pick up arms for, you know, for the, you know, in defense of, you know, Mama Africa, that, you know, they don't want to have anything to do with them, and that they, you know, Uncle Toms, and just a lot of really, you know, just hateful, you know, exclusionary, you know, attitudes and comments, and that angers me, and it saddens me, you know, because I know that that while, you know, that militant attitude that is for a lot of people, that's a very strong movement or element in Pan-Africanism. But I also know that, you know, there is a non-militant component that is just as strong, that is just as powerful. And one of my role models is Stephen Biko, who was a non-militant Pan-Africanist in South Africa at the height of apartheid. He lost his life, you know, to those butchers. But he was very, in terms of organizing and dealing with them and combating them in a non-militant way, he was successful in that. And so that just, you know, shows me that it is possible to be non-violent, to be, you know, non-militant, and still be supportive and in defense of Mama Africa. And I also look to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I also look to Gandhi. And so even though it angers me and it saddens me to hear you know, African people talk like that and have that attitude, you know, I'm okay with it, because I'm committed to nonviolence. I mean, if I'm not willing, okay, to eat the body of an animal, you know, or to kill an animal in order to get a meal, you know, I'm not willing to, you know, to pick up a gun and start, you know, pumping slugs in people, because I just think, you know, the killings just become senseless. I mean, when you look at what happened in Rwanda, the number of people that were killed, you know, in such a short amount of time, and when you look at so you've got situations at home in Africa and abroad here, you know, in other continents, where you've got Africans killing Africans, you've got non-Africans who are killing Africans, and you've got, again, depending on the country that you're in, you've got a non-African power base or infrastructure, political infrastructure, that is also oppressing and killing African people. And so you have to ask yourself, who is this benefiting? And of course, one immediate answer is, well, it's benefiting those that power base, those power bases, those non-African power bases, because they don't mind killing Africans, they don't mind non-Africans killing Africans, and they sure as hell don't mind Africans killing Africans. So it benefits them, but other than that, I can't see where it really does. When you look at the damage that it does to the soul, what it does to families, I mean, I just don't see where it's worth it. And I also know that, from a non-militant point of view, that you can't have, if you've got an army and everybody's a soldier, somebody's got to provide the medical, aspect. Somebody's got to be the one who is collecting funds to buy medicine, to buy books, to help provide school systems, to help deal with things on that level. Someone's got to come up and stand in front of the microphone and talk and be a spokesperson. Someone's got to be able to communicate with written word, to talk about the struggle, to maybe find and build bridges and allies with other non-African people who, even though their struggle might be different than ours, it might not be an African-based struggle, but there are other. We're not the only race that is going through hard times right now. So building bridges with other with other movements is I think that's tantamount. That's tantamount, and so someone's got to be willing to do that. So the militant part, if people want to be a part of that, hey, okay. But there's the non-militant part that is just as important, and that is where my commitment is at. And again, my commitment for nonviolence, just it comes from just experiences that I went through as a child, dealing, with violence, okay? And it's something that I don't want in my life anymore. I don't want people that are violent in my life anymore, as much as possible. And I understand that sometimes you have to work with people, you have to, interact with people that are violent, and I just have, try to come from a place of love and understanding with them. But other than that, to just, limit, my contacts with them, and perhaps that's not the best approach either. And again, I hope that I've made it very clear that I do not have a complete and thorough understanding of nonviolence, that I am on a path, okay, and I'm learning and growing as I go along. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the he's a Vietnamese writer. His name is Thich Nhat Hanh, but he again, someone who is very much on the path of nonviolence and on love. And that's another person that if anyone is interested in reading any of his books, definitely. But okay, so that's my series on nonviolence. And anyone who wants to send a video response or text me, please do so. Please rate this video and all the videos in this. And okay, this is rebelfrak.